Hey, welcome to Two Doctors Homestead. My name's Daniel. I want to talk about Zero Sum Conclusion, Thomas Lopinski. Excellent dystopian fantasy novel. We were going to cover it on the book club, but we put the book club on hold for now. We might come back to it later. We might dig back in, cover the book. But I did want to talk about it. I'd been talking to Thomas Lopinski. He was going to show up on the book club. So we may still do that at some point. It's not working out right now to do the book club, but I had talked to him. I did want to cover the book, not a paid promotion. I bought the book myself, so I was never looking for any kind of compensation. We covered a lot of Orwell. We talked about 1984, and this book sort of falls in as a sequel. You could call it a part two to 1984, certainly a modern twist. Did enjoy the book a lot. I want to talk about it a little bit, talk about Thomas Lopinski a little bit, and some of his other books. I read The Document 512. I thought that was an excellent story as well. So we'll start out here. I want to read the back cover to you. I think there's a lot of great content on here. So, Second Civil War of 2033 changed the landscape of American politics forever, forcing citizens to reimagine a society overrun by crime, greed, poverty, and aggression, turning conventional logic on its head. Every 18-year-old now receives $1 million in lieu of traditional health care, Social Security, and Medicare. Political divisiveness has been diffused by assigning everyone as a front loader or back ender, depending on how they want to live and when they want to take their $1 million. Corporations now handle all the government functions, saving taxpayers money while cleansing the internet of misinformation and immoral values. What could possibly go wrong? It's 84 years after 1984, and the story centers around an FBI agent named Edward Gorman, who has recently lost his soulmate to illness. His life spirals out of control after a computer glitch rewrites his history. Along the way, he meets a young teenage boy named Ketchum, who also finds himself on the wrong side of the law. After being swindled out of his newfound fortune by a beautiful girl, Ketchum enters into zero-sum conclusion. Edgar and Ketchum's lives collide, and by joining forces, they eventually save each other. Zero-Sum Conclusion is a futuristic, satirical exploration of the political, religious, and social landscapes of today and what might become of America if we continue on the path we're currently hurling down. So it is, as I said, it's a modern relook at 1984. Has a very Tom Clancy feel in some parts, I would say. It also ties in well, if you like the A24 Civil War movie. I felt like it had quite a tie-in to that, and that was probably accidental. So a little bit on Thomas Lopinski. Thomas grew up in a quaint small town in Illinois called Georgetown and studied at the University of Illinois. Later he moved to Southern California with his family to work in the music industry, where he's had a successful career in film and television music licensing field with Warner Brothers, Universal Records, and the Walt Disney Company. In 2012, he published award-winning novel Document 512. His highly regarded second novel, The Art of Raising Hell, was published in 2015 and won Best Young Adult Novel through Best Indie Books and was a semifinalist for Best Literary Novel through Kindle Book Awards. Thomas is also a member of the Independent Writers of Southern California and has been a cancer survivor since 2006, and certainly congratulations on that. So before I go too far on Zero-Sum Conclusion, I actually really like Document 512. I read that as well. It's a classic treasure hunter, lost city of gold type book. I wasn't even sure going in. I just wanted to jump in and read it. A lot of fun. That story was a lot of fun, not dystopian at all. I do tend to lean towards dystopian, and this book delivers. So some of my notes in the book and reading through the book, something I wanted to cover. So it's 84 years after 1984, and everything in the world has changed, but nothing is really different. So this takes 1984 as a book, literally as if it happened in 1984, and they fast forward 84 years. more civil wars, more strife. So set in the year 2068 after the Second Civil War, and we're all wondering when that Second Civil War is going to happen. Certainly saw the movie A24 Civil War. It says, when the Solid Start Initiative became law after the Constitutional Convention of 2033, in order to deal with the involving Social Security and Medicare programs, which threatened to bankrupt the whole country with one swipe of the digital pen, they were able to wipe out poverty and the federal deficit. So the idea was they had a constitutional convention, which is a real thing. So if all the governors want to get together, they can have what's called a constitutional convention, and they can actually rewrite the Constitution. And you hear about that sometimes, certainly a lot at risk, knowing a group of people could get together and change the Constitution if they wanted. And in this story, that is what happened. So after the Second Civil War, they had a constitutional convention, and they changed some stuff. And in that, they created two programs called front loader, back ender. So they also reverted the value of currency back to mid-20th century levels, and people have the choice to become front loader, back loader. So the way it works, and it's an interesting idea, certainly a good thought experiment. It's sort of like, what if you could win the lottery at 18? So front loaders receive $1 million at 18, and that's it. You're good to go. Try not to go broke, right? And if you do go broke, and that happens in the story to one of the main characters, you effectively go to jail, right? You go to re-education camp where you're going to learn job skills, and it's not a pretty thing. So you try not to go broke. The back ender, you agree to work for 30 years and you retire with $2 million in lifetime health care. So they give everyone that two options. If you think back when you're 18, you can say, I'll take $1 million and not really have to worry about work. You can pursue things like art or whatever your dream is, right? Or you grind it out. If you want to grind it out, work your 30 years, retire with $2 million in lifetime health care. So the story opens up, chapter 1, Edgar and his wife, Evelyn, together at home. Edgar was painting and talking with his wife. So she was a front loader. She received her $1 million, and she was running out of money. And because she was running out of money, she couldn't afford proper health care. Edgar was a back ender. He did his 30 years, and he was trying to retire. He wanted to retire with his $2 million, and he certainly wanted to retire with his wife. But she had health issues. She wasn't getting proper care. And at the end of chapter 2, she sort of collapses on the ground and passes away, right? Unfortunately, just didn't get the health care, couldn't afford it. And once again, if she went broke, she would end up going to the retraining, re-education camp. So the story follows Edgar, a disgraced FBI agent who eventually ends up being a security guard. So he's just trying to do his 30 years to retire. Struggles against a system that is stacked against him reaching retirement. I sort of got that feel that they didn't like paying out the $2 million. So the story's intertwined with Ketchum. So Ketchum's a young man that follows his story of turning 18. He goes with $1 million, but as you suspect, a lot of people are trying to steal his money. So he ends up going to prison for being poor. And hopefully I'm not giving too much away. There's a lot in here, a lot of action, a lot of great ideas, great story in here. And of course, Ketchum and Edgar are intertwined. So he has some new technologies, some interesting ideas that I liked. You see the implementation of a social credit score, right, as it's described in the book. In order to form a more perfect union, it is our patriotic duty to become better citizens. Your demeanor score is a measure of your personal growth as a human being, and the levels above 1,000 can earn you certain benefits not available to other citizens. Scores below 250 may activate a zero-sum conclusion. So going broke, you go to the re-education camps, and just not being a good person. If your social credit score is too low, boom, you go to the re-education camps, get you out of society. So everything you do and say is monitored, which is similar to what you saw in 1984. You're constantly being monitored. I don't recall the idea of necessary social credit score in 1984. I think it's a more modern idea, but they probably would have had it had they thought about it. So as you're going, you say something bad, you say something against the government, anything like that, your score goes down and eventually you go to jail. Something else that's a cool technology, the DDO glasses. So essentially, they would be like smart glasses that we see now. but more, more advanced smart glasses basically connects your brain with the supercomputer, and all of a sudden you sort of know everything about everything, but use it too much and it kind of fries your brain. So you look at the book and hey, you know everything about the book and the author. You see a person, you know his life story because everything's recorded, right? So interesting ideas. I like the technology, a lot of action, a lot of cool twists and turns, certainly a lot of fun. Don't know if there will be a sequel. I could certainly see a sequel. I don't want to give away the ending, but I feel like a sequel would be pretty cool. So once again, enjoyed the book. We were going to cover in the book club, and we may still, right? I know Thomas was going to get online with us, do sort of an interview. I don't want to close that door, but I did want to talk about the book as well as Document 512. So I absolutely enjoyed it. It does have that feel of a sequel to 1984, so it feels like it fits into the world of A24 Civil War. I think it's Magma. Magma is sort of the government organization. They abolished the FBI, which was another aspect of the Civil War movie. Rewrite the Constitution, and they seem to throw a lot of people into jail. So I don't want to give away too many details, just saying enjoyed the book, highly recommend it. So hopefully when we get the book club going again, we'll do some kind of an interview, we'll work something out. But as always, guys, hope that helps out. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.